Now we are. Cool. She wants to say the opening prayer.
Who hasn't said it yet?
I don't think Dalton's really done much yet. No, I think Dalton's going to give the spiritual thought.
Okay.
No, I don't think.
Okay, I'll do
I
it.
can say it. Our dear Heavenly Father, we are grateful for this weekend that we've had to be able to listen to General Conference and to be able to listen to inspired leaders and to prophets and apostles. And we pray that we will have the courage and the desire to follow their counsel and to do our best in these classes so that we may be able to have success, so that we may be able to be better disciples of thee and to be able to have success and support our families. This we pray for in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
What the heck is this?
Okay, so that's why he's having problems.
What?
He said so he pulled into a church parking lot to use their Wi-Fi, and so yeah.
Okay.
What? I mean, I don't know what to do about that.
I don't either.
We'll just wait for him to jump on or something. Do you see there's like a new post thing in here for LT7 topic? Like we have to post something in a thread?
Are you clicking on the discussion?
Okay, I'll show you. This?
Yeah, so I think that's because it always pulls me up to that page when I click on like the discussion for each, I don't know what you would call it, week or section.
Is that where
But I think
you post the link to the video there?
I think that's where talk with your group to set up these discussions. But since we're doing it through text, we don't need to post it on there.
All right, sweet. All right, who's doing the spiritual thought? Hey, I see Kevin. Can you hear us, Kevin?
He's there. I don't know if he's going to stay.
He's there. He's in freeze frame.
Yeah.
Oh, he's using the Wi-Fi.
Oh, man, that sucks.
Oh, jeez.
Keep losing him. I'll share something.
Okay.
General Conference. Did you guys get to watch any of General Conference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I missed the afternoon session today, but that's it.
Well, I liked what here's a little thought that somebody gave that I don't remember who it was. Was the 70, I believe. I want to say he was quoting Ezra Taft Benson, but he was basically talking about trials. Actually, a lot of people, I think, today talked about trials. People talked about trials, and they also talked about kind of the stormy times, I guess, that we're in. A lot of people kind of talked about that society is going through a lot of tough times and that we should expect spiritually and every other type of challenge imaginable that we're going to experience. Well, one thing that one of the guys said, that quoting Ezra Taft Benson, I want to say it was him, is essentially that we should not just pass through our trials just to kind of get through things, but let them pass through us to make us better. And I think that's so key because it's like, I don't know, I feel like it's not what matters to you as much in your life as what matters more is not what happens to you, but how you interpret what happens to you. So somebody can have like a really crazy life event, and one person can think it's great while somebody else can think it's horrible, and it's a totally different experience just by the way they interpret it. So I think that's kind of a cool thought that he brought up, was letting our trials, he said, sanctify us, like make us better and pure, and not just kind of let them make us like bitter and just like hate life because like whatever, my life sucks and all this stuff. So I don't know. You guys have anything to say about that?
Life sucks. So that's all I got. That's all I heard.
Well, I'm glad you got something uplifting from it. Your life sucks. That's what we get from General Coffee.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, sorry about that.
Are you in the church's parking lot using the Wi-Fi?
You like that?
That's pretty rad.
Yeah.
I can see the reflection in your back window. It looks like somebody's watching the back of your head.
Hey, is that your face? Do you see you?
Yeah.
It's you.
It just looks like he's wearing like camo, like he's going hunting or something.
I wish. No. Yeah, Sunday what?
Oh.
No.
For some reason, it looked like the coloring. It looked like he's like all like dressed up in camo, and he's got like a rifle or something in the back.
Yeah, no. So, okay. Though I could hear you. That was cool.
We want to go over these case discussions.
Yeah, I prepared this time pretty good. So.
Oh, sweet! So you can guide us.
Yeah, you're carrying the discussion.
You can walk beside us. So far, we have learned to evaluate business models of startups. Today, we will examine the business model decision of a startup in a mature industry. As a group, begin by discussing the following questions. Was the VC industry attractive for A16Z to enter in 2009? Was it attractive? What do you guys think?
I'd say no.
No, yeah.
From what I read, like 95%. Yeah, like 95% of the in the industry was all controlled by 3 companies, so very attractive for new startups.
I think they said the industry was actually kind of scaling back a little bit too. That it had been bigger like 10 years ago, and it was kind of, yeah. Oh, did somebody just post the questions on the side here?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, cool. Okay. That's actually a really good idea.
What's he doing?
Are these your answers?
Yeah, those are my questions and answers. So I'm just gonna let you read those instead of me talking.
Oh, okay. Let's just silently read this.
I put yes and no because they raised like a bunch of capital to start out with, which showed that there was it was an attractive industry for that investors thought it was to go into, so they were backed pretty easily. But like you said, no, because I guess after the 1999, it was half of what it was from 2000 to 2009. So I put yes and no. You want to go to the second question? What was the competition like at this time? I think Kevin mentioned that. 3% of, or 95% of the returns were by 3% of the capital firms. So it was like, I think they said there was 5 venture capitalist firms that did 95% of all the revenue. So it was a small club to get into. You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Is that what you guys got too?
That was word for word what I put down.
Yeah.
No, but I agree with that.
Yep. Maybe go to the next one here. What was the typical? There's a lot of questions, so we can kind of blow through these. What was the typical fate of the new entrants in the industry? I put that it was hard for these new entrants to survive because they were basically coming into this to get a good return on their investment. So they would open up these venture capital firms, but I guess the average rate of return was only 8.9%, which was lower than the S&P 500 annual return of 20.6%.
I don't get that. How on earth did the S&P 500 return 20.6%? That's like the best I've ever heard.
I know, that's what kind of threw me as well, because like, what's the average now, like 8 or 6?
Yeah, it's like 8. So like, I don't understand. There's a lot that I don't understand about finance in general. So like, I don't know, but that just seems like astronomical.
Yeah. Let me see if I still have the
8.9% doesn't sound bad, but like if that's got 20, I don't know what that's talking about.
Let me pull up the doc here. Interesting case study. Open new window. You search up 20.6% in that document. Just like control find it. 20. Yeah. So if you do the control find.
Yeah.
So in that PDF, control find 20.6, and you'll see it there. Relative to the S&P returns of 20.6. That's crazy high.
So the thing is that over the long run, it's usually averages out to around 8%, but it varies so much. I'm looking at their past right now, and in 2013, it returned. The S&P 500 index was at 32% return.
Wow.
But last year, it was only 1.4. In 2011, it was only 2.11. So at 2008, when the market crashed, it was negative 37. So it just totally varies.
It's a huge.
Wow.
It's all over the place.
Yeah, that's crazy high return. Man, can you imagine?
2012. This says 20.6%. This says 16%. Somebody's wrong. Anyways, yeah, it varies.
So I put that as why there's not a lot of venture capitals opening up, because there were so few of them that were actually successful, and then you had a better chance of just investing it in stocks and mutual funds.
Yeah.
I was just reading too. 40% of new.
I think that's the actual entrepreneurs, or the companies themselves, the percentage that were successful. That's actually what I did my equation on, was like, because it says they had 3,000 applicants each year that tried to get backing from them. So I took that number, and then I used this 40% failed, 40% moderate, and 20% returned high profit. So I used that to figure out how many of the 3,000 actually made high profits, and it was like 12 out of the 3,000. Out of the 3,000 people that they interviewed, only 12 actually they signed and made a high profit for them.
So that's what you did for your math equation?
Yeah. Because you said 98% of the 3,000 they said no to.
Okay.
So 98% of the people that came to them wanting to get funds, they didn't give it to. And so that leaves you 2% that did. And of that 2%, only 20% of that 2% made them money. So, with all the entrenched incumbents, the catch-22, what silver lining did A16Z see? So I put that they were trying to come up with a new venture capitalist model. So they set it up to be like a modeling agency and talent agency where when people would come on, they would kind of let them do their own thing. They hired people that were from those areas so that they wouldn't just be, they would have more involvement in helping the company succeed as opposed to just throwing money at them and hoping that they worked.
Yeah.
And they also didn't fire their CEOs, which was something that I think brought more people to their doorstep. It was like standard practice for when, if they would sign somebody, they would say, okay, it's a great company, great idea. We're going to fund your company, but we're going to bring in this guy that knows what he's doing and make him the president of your company. He's going to be your CEO. So I guess a lot of entrepreneurs didn't like that because it kind of took the control of their company out of their hands. So do you guys watch that show? It's on HBO. It's called Silicon Valley.
No.
Have you guys ever seen that? It has to do with like exactly this discussion. So it's about like a Silicon Valley startup company. And they're like seeking investors and stuff like that. But it's kind of funny because exactly what they say in this document, like about them firing the creator of the company and putting in a new CEO, like that exactly happened in the show. It's kind of,
That sucks.
it's kind of interesting how true to life this is. Okay.
What channel is that on?
I think it's on HBO.
Okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but in this case, it talked about how one of the problems they saw in expanding was that they would have to kind of change up the leadership in the company, and they didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. They would fire the CEO. They would bring in a new CEO to run their company for them.
And that's what they didn't want to do.
Yeah, they would bring in a new CEO because they felt like these young guys that were making these startup internet companies didn't know how to manage a business. So they would
control.
Yeah, they would take the seat. They'd say, "Well, we'll fund you, but you're not going to be the CEO. We're going to hire this other guy to be the CEO of your company." And a lot of people didn't like that. So this company was unique in that they didn't do that, and they were known for not doing that. So more companies would come to them trying to get funding, which is essentially what all the venture capitalists want. They just want more people coming to them trying to get funding so they have more opportunities.
Yeah.
This next one, how did they plan to succeed in this difficult environment? I put by having a different business model than the rest of the venture capitalist firms.
What question are we on?
How did they plan to succeed in this difficult environment?
Yeah, they kind of did. They were kind of doing different stuff, right? I think one thing that they did that was really good was the fact that they treated their venture capital company like a real corporation. They were doing marketing, where they were saying that most other big VC firms didn't do marketing. They thought that there was like a negative view on marketing, or they thought that if you're marketing and you're a VC that you're maybe you're desperate or something like that. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
They believe mostly in just work, like referrals, and people that you've worked with and stuff like that in the past. But they're saying that with all the new entrepreneurs that are just popping out of everywhere, that they don't know a lot of people, they went to market to kind of catch all those people that didn't really have a network built yet. And so once they had started having success with that, then other large venture capital firms started marketing as well, which they hadn't done before because of their success.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's just one thing. Another thing is that they really one thing I really liked is how they focused so much on their operations. They didn't want their partners to be competing against one another, but they wanted it to be more of like an egalitarian environment. Everybody's on the same level. Everybody got the same commissions. So yeah, they weren't competing against each other. They were more working together as a team. Also, I really like that they built relationships with companies that weren't on their portfolio, or in other words, companies that they weren't doing business with directly, that they weren't directly funding. They would still build relationships with other companies that they didn't have anything to do with, because they were looking long term, thinking if we can build good relationships with these companies, who knows, maybe somebody out of that company will break off, start his own company. He's got a connection. So they're just really doing a lot of great networking, public relations, stuff like that. They did a lot of things I think that seem like there's kind of innovative for that industry, and it seems like it's working out good.
Yeah, I noticed too. What was I going to say? It said that in there that since the during that time from like 2001 to 2009 was when a lot of people were getting into being online and getting high-speed internet connections, and a lot of these giant venture capital firms were kind of ignoring these internet-based businesses. So I think they were kind of trying to differentiate themselves by exploiting that market that they thought other VCs were undervaluing. Because they had little startup costs. It was like in their website and stuff like that, and they were kind of being passed by because these other firms didn't recognize the value because of all these new people that around the world that were connecting to the internet. I'm trying to think when I had the internet first. Is that around 2000? No, probably before. I think we first got internet like 1999 or 98. You guys probably had internet your whole life, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was born through the internet.
You were born through the internet. Neo.
The internet. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, created through the internet.
When were you guys born? Oh, 98?
Yeah.
I was born in 83.
I was born in 2003.
Really?
No.
Wow.
That make me 13.
Really well.
Yeah. I grew up fast.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you're born through the internet. Faster.
High speed birth.
Yeah. Yeah. High speed baby.
Yeah.
I was born in 87.
Okay. Why is A16Z specifically targeting first-time technical co-founders?
Why are they
specifically targeting first-time technical co-founders?
My guess, not knowing obviously much about this case, but my guess would be that because the first time, the people that are starting it up for their first times, they're probably more ambitious and have, I guess, innovating ideas.
Uh-huh.
Kind of like how we talked about, I forgot which case study it was, but there was a company that was trying to kind of do what Apple does and kind of stay ahead of the market and create new things. I think that's part of the reason why they're looking for these new guys, because they have the fresh ideas and they're eager to make some money.
Yeah, I just figured out why their name is A16Z, because the first letter of his name is A, and you count 16 letters, and his last letter of his name is Z.
Oh,
Well, how'd you
okay.
find that out?
I'm a genius. I'm joking.
Were you reading looking at his name for?
Yeah,
This
because
entire
I was like A to Z is like that has something to do. It has to have something to do with his name. So I was like, oh, the
Yeah.
Z's at the end. So I see the 16 in the middle. I was like, I wonder if it's 16 letters between this A and his Z.
It's true.
They said I'm a genius.
Dude, you should start up your own venture. You should start up. I would give you billions.
Yeah. Which question are we on? Oh, why did A16Z start targeting first-time co-founders? I think it's because the guy that's what his backing. He was from, was it Netgear or something like that? Netscape. And so he kind of had this internet background type thing. So he kind of knew which ones to target and which ones not to. So it's kind of his expertise. How has the cost of tech startups impacted the VC industry? I put this is what I wrote down. The cost of launching an internet business had dropped dramatically due largely to open source software, cloud infrastructure, and internet distribution. As a result, entrepreneurs were able to postpone seeking a Series A investment. So that's obviously a copy paste. But yeah, they had their costs dropped because you could start, with not very much money, you could start your own internet company, start your own app, or, whatever. Or if you needed some upfront capital, you could do like those cloud sourcing websites, like GoFundMe and those other ones. I forget what they're called.
Are there any more questions?
How has it impacted the need for technical full founders to raise capital? Same type of answer. Do these trends apply to other sectors such as life science or clean tech? Do you guys think that the need for raising capital is different from these internet-based companies compared to clean tech companies and biotech companies?
Oh, yeah. It's a big difference.
Yeah. You have to buy a bunch of equipment and crap.
One of these last paragraphs that talks about Elon Musk and these other guys that want to build these huge, basically want to transform society on like huge epic scales. And that would take billions, if not like trillions. Super large public projects and stuff like that to pretty much transform the world, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, that would be a lot of money. Yeah, there's a big difference.
Yeah. I kind of thought that same way too. Plus, it's out of his area of influence. Like, he knows stuff about internet-based companies. He doesn't know about biotech and all this crap. And he doesn't. When you open up the geographies to go around the world doing these investments, you're putting a lot of your faith in other people to hopefully know what they're doing.
Yeah. Elon Musk wants to start civil projects on Mars.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
Did you watch that interview where he said, what would it take to make Mars inhabitable, like to have an atmosphere.
Yeah.
He said you'd have to shoot a bunch of nuclear weapons at it.
Well, we have those in abundance. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you did that, apparently that would make an atmosphere on Mars and people could walk around on it.
We just need one of those terraforming devices that in Man of Steel, you know, those people from Krypton, they could like terraform the Earth to like make it more habitable.
Yeah.
We need that.
Have you seen his?
That would cost billions of dollars.
Have you seen his? What's the big one he's doing right now? The rail system thing. What's that called?
No.
Who? Elon Musk?
Yeah, well, he's not doing it. He's like open sourcing it. What's it called? Shoot. Hyperloop. You know the Hyperloop thing?
Oh yeah, yeah, that was in here too. Something about the Hyperloop.
Yeah, you're supposed to be able to go from LA to San Francisco in 30 minutes. It goes
700 miles per hour in a tube, so you're almost going the speed of sound.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's going about, I mean, some planes, most commercial airlines probably only go like around 400 or so miles an hour.
Yeah, top, like around like 300 or 350.
Yeah, so this is like twice as fast as that.
That would be cool. I know they're proposing it here in California because they have this high-speed rail that they are doing, and it's like, I can't remember how much it is, like billions and billions of dollars to do. And he said this Hyperloop would be half the cost, and it would go like 5 times as fast. But who knows? Let's see. I'm going to go to the next question here. How has it impacted the technical fulfillment to raise capital? Oh yeah, we kind of talked about that. How has it impacted the need for technical co-founders to raise capital? They're doing crowdsourcing. Oh, we already did this. Okay. On there. So I think we kind of talked about this a little bit before. VC firms compete on their ability to source, pick, and win. How does A16Z's business model influence these abilities compared to other VC firms? I wrote the answer. A16Z professionals could coach portfolio companies on how to manage their recruiting efforts. Second, the operating team's efforts would be structured to set up multi-sided platforms, each harnessing network's effectiveness to deliver long-term value for all their participants. They wanted to have the company be in charge of their success instead of relying on the VC firm to supply everything.
So they were a lot more hands-on then in their work with the different companies they were investing in?
Yeah, they were hands-on and then hands-off in certain places, like where it came to the ownership of the company and it came to decisions of what to do. They kind of left that in the hands of the companies, but they would have people that would coach them on how to do it. So instead of taking over everything, saying, thanks for the great idea, we're going to take over from here, they kind of just coached them with different people that were experts in marketing and hiring people and all that.
Yeah.
So I bet a lot of these guys are not like super, like these tech startup guys. I doubt they're like super social and know how to, talk to people and lead a company and all that. They've been in their basements on their computers writing code.
Yeah, I agree.
So what did you guys put as like the final question here? Do you think that they should expand and go into clean tech and biotech and go international? Or should they stay with their same field of reference? Stay with
The IT bit.
yeah.
I think you kind of answered it already. That this is like their expertise. This is what they're good at. They have experience in this kind of thing. So, just from that and taking in what you guys have been saying, I think they should just stick with what they're good at. And I mean, they're making plenty of money. I know it said that they ended up in people like Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn, and so I mean, they're doing good in their field. So I think they should just stay there. I think it would be a bigger risk to expand and go to the different places.
Yeah, I kind of put that too. I think as time goes on and it becomes cheaper and cheaper to do your own startup, like with crowdsourcing and crap, that, I mean, I'm not sure what does it have a an exhibit in there with like the percentage of crowdsourcing. Let's see, crowdfunding. It says here in his comment that he says there is an evolutionary trend towards more transparency in private capital markets, and crowdfunding seems to be the next natural step. Maybe A16Z is the last and most evolved dinosaur, and crowdfunding is the first bird. So I think they're feeling the pressure of, should we steer away from this? I think you're running, like you said, running a big risk by, you know, because you could lose your shirt on some of these clean tech firms. Like, didn't the government lose a bunch of money on the solar power plants that they invested in? And so, yeah, I would agree with you. Stay with what their strong suit is.
What do you think they should do, Kyle?
I put down to expand geographically rather than expand over different sectors.
Yeah.
And that's mostly just, I guess, because of what you guys are saying. You know, that's what their expertise is. Information technology type stuff. These other areas could be really good, but also they would take a lot of money, and they could end up being a bust too. Just reading in the LA Times about Hyperloop. And how some people and like some executives are getting sued or something like that, or there's like some legal issues that they're having, and it's like, what if they invest all this money in one of those companies and then it's just like a bust? And that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's not really their expertise. So
yeah. I don't see these types of firms or these types of companies, you know, dropping off the face of the cliff. I mean, I don't think a ton of people use crowdsourcing as their main funding. It's kind of like, it's a rarity, I think, because you're not going to raise that much on it unless you're very, very unique. I think you have a better chance of actually going to a VC firm. But that's all I have.
Yeah. I think we're good. We got about 40 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Are you good, Kyle?
I'm good. I'm satisfied.
All right. Same time next week.
Yeah. Well, we should.
Probably also Wednesday night too, right?
Oh yeah. What time Wednesday?
Preferably no later than 10 my time, which would be 7 Pacific.
Okay, so let's do.
I mean, if that's possible.
Yeah, let's. Oh shoot, I can't do that then. Wednesday.
Or
I,
could
go ahead.
I could probably, I guess I could do 11 if that.
So we could do
better.
Tuesday too. I mean, that would give us today or tomorrow and most of Tuesday to prepare for it. If that works better for you.
Well, I don't think I'm going to be able to on Tuesday. I have an exam.
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's 7 on. Like, I can probably get in like 7 to 7:30.
Okay.
So I can do
Should
that.
we do 7 Pacific time Wednesday?
Yeah.
Be 10 p.m. for you, Kyle, and that works for me. And then we'll just let Kevin know.
Sounds good.
All right. I'll see you guys then.
See you guys.
All right.